just out of high school. Actually, in high school, leaving high school, just out.
Okay, almost all of us have, I think.
Lots of custard. And lots of flipping burgers.
That makes sense for Wisconsin, the custard part for sure.
Those
that don't know, that's an American style of ice cream. But anyways, to get on to the point here.
Dave. You just called it ice cream.
It's okay. Sort of like, right. They would take offense. Definitely. No, I'm with you. So, 86 in the restaurant world means we're out of it. You actually would say we're 86ing that guy if someone was being too rowdy in the bar. So 86 is an interesting number to make. Here we are, though. A lot to look forward to. So many changes right now, Nathan, in what the WTRL are doing. The Vienna classes, we're activating a whole lot of changes there by popular demand. And I think we're pretty close to moving into that new era.
That's a good thing. Let's take a quick look, though. I want to one more thing on the World Bicycle Race. We do have a quick little video to give everybody an idea of what they're up to. It's always good to see these images. Take that right on into the race.
Conforto já ficar. Abre muito. Eu saí à frente.
Vamos lá, agora começa a aumentar gradualmente.
João Paulo está a ficar para trás. Bora.
Olha a fila.
Está tudo. Podem trabalhar.
Aguenta um pouquinho, Antônio.
So next week, that's the target goal. That's what World Bicycle Relief is all about, is getting mobility.
Está a abrir muito, não se aproveita o draft. Está a abrir muito.
When it comes to where we're living at here, Dave, and the reality of the kind of infrastructures that we have and our ability to just get things done, and how comfort and ability and wealth that helps us create here in our countries, or at least in my country, our country where we live, and many countries around the world that are going to be out here cycling on the Zwift platform. And the reality that the power that bicycles can give, those Buffalo bikes, they're hardy bikes, and they're. I mean, real quickly, I want to make a comparison here. Way back in the day, giving somebody a mule that can get something done, how that would change a household, right? In a farming household or something, very similar type situation. Sure. Huge amount of value. 100%. And I think just to give people an idea of what they're up to, because there's watching these people ride bikes, it's like, well, what's the big deal, But it's a big deal.
I'd like to just say, Nathan, and then we can get into the racing for sure. But that one bicycle, we'll say it's just under $150 to buy one. It'll be activated. It'll keep a 14-year-old girl in school where she otherwise would not stay in school. Keep a car because now his range goes from what you can walk and with your tools is about 5 kilometers per day. Now that range is 20 kilometers. Or she can do a whole lot more work, and it will keep a family together. So that's what a bicycle can do, because when you give that 14-year-old girl to keep her in school, that bicycle then gets handed from family member to use throughout the day, but they all take care of it and love it and respect it, and this is the future, folks. Let's get on board. If we don't hit $50,000, I'll be surprised, to tell you the truth, because I've seen how this community, the WTRL community, our community at Zwift Community Live, I've seen how they respond. They've never let me down before.
Dave's putting the pressure on, boys and girls. Putting the pressure on. Loving it.
Estou a puxar demasiado. Está
We're
tudo
gonna jump
partido.
first in
I'm a
between.
pitch man.
Aguenta bocadinho à frente, deixa fechar.
Let's go ahead and jump right on in, though, with the Vienna class, though. That's where we're going to be starting out here. We do have, it looks like, the Sea Chasers, the first ones that we have out on course here.
Oh,
hammering away.
boy. Coming down cats and dogs
Bora lá,
out
Daniel,
there.
puxa até
It's,
aqui.
well, I mean, where we are, I mean, it's London, so I think
That time
Estamos a
of year.
chegar.
it's that time of year. We're setting up. We're
Nós
set up
estamos
a
a
little
dois e
bit more.
pouco.
You know, it was interesting a little bit. Well, maybe I should. It's cold. It's cold here, and
Calma,
I get
estamos a rolar
these
acima do
comparisons
previsto.
online once in a while where people are like, "Oh, it's freezing! It's freezing!" And I'm, do you know
Bora,
it's
Dias, 4:30.
freezing? I saw Laverick released a video saying how cold it was
4:30.
in London, in the UK yesterday. It's -2, and then I recognized it was Celsius he was talking about. I was like,
Celsius, yeah.
it's probably raining there on some days. No, it's not cold there. I'm sorry to say, not cold one bit. But here we go. We got the Chasers hammering away. It looks like they're getting chased down by the Vikings right behind them there out of Norway there, Dave.
Porta
Yeah,
direita.
Nathan, I guess I should
Temos a
take care of
subida.
some business here because
Com
today
cabeça.
2 laps out on the GLF, the Greater London
Esse eu não
Flat
puxo
Course,
mais dias lá.
one of the well-known and well-loved routes that we race on.
Opa,
29
59,
total kilometers today, so there's some bullet points for you. 29K of racing. The teams here, so this is classic WTRL. Start with 8, time taken off of the 4th. I always have to remember, Nathan, that we have people viewing for the first time on any given Thursday. This is the 86th consecutive week that we've raced it. So Vienna class is going to be the top women. And Nathan, I did know that the choppers are reinforcing. They're going to be coming in hot now. So I think we're moving into, I'm going to call it, well, so to be fair, I only really picked up on this phenomenon around week 50 or so. But I would say that we're moving into a post-World Championship phase. There's going to be a new group of riders who are going to pick up on Zwift and get into the racing here. We're going to find yet another higher level.
Which will be hard to do, I think. I think a lot will be jumping in
Yeah.
here and going, oh, okay, this is real deal. Because I think, I think after World Championships, I think there is going to be a reality, exactly like you said. There's going to be new people coming on the platform. They go, oh, okay, well, this community racing, what this is really all about. And we will find out very quickly, though, that these are the fastest athletes in the world at this discipline. And that if you want to mix up with them, you will have to put together a really, really solid team of similar level. It will have to be world class. It will have to be world class athletes. And you'll have to learn how to race a team time trial in the digital world, just like we saw in the World Championships yesterday. A similar situation where you had to have a certain kind of athlete, you had to have a certain type of technique, and now similar here with the TTT. This being a totally different type of racing for what we saw with the scratch race has its own genre now that's obviously developed into it.
Yeah, well put. And I think that there's so many layers to that. When any regular old person jumps on Zwift, it turns out it's much, much harder. I think the same thing with racing bikes, too, is what doesn't look anywhere near as hard as it is when you jump in a Cat 5 race. How many fit guys jumped into a race and dropped 3 laps in and said, holy cow, I didn't know that was like that. Well, Zwift is the same way. Anything hard is going to be like that. But this team time trialing discipline that has been perfected, really, WTRL didn't invent the team time trial. That's existed really since racing began. But what they did invent was it on this esports format. And they really created a phenomenon, and this it's a little bit different. There's a lot of similarities, but it's a little bit different than in real life team time trial. But again, laws of physics that apply out there apply out here. We're taking a look at so. I was thinking about it this morning, Nathan, when I was riding. Every time that you're dangling off the front of your team in a team time trial, it's like pounding sand, right? Because you're wailing away, but you're not making an impact. And so this team needs to regroup here. They just need to re-strategize a little bit as we're looking at the first 5K-ish. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what's going on right now here.
So we got, it does look like, well, I was actually going to speak to anybody who wanted to just jump on into this in the same way that you just talked about we see some disorganization, it looks like, with Gillestram, as you can see. And I think a little bit strong on the climb going into one of the only uphill sections that are going to be on the Great 11
I think push-ups.
But I think one thing, if somebody were to just jump in, like we saw in scratch racing, or you spoke to scratch racing, where it's like, whoa, off the back immediately, what is this? Was not expected. It's mayhem. Similar if you just jump into a TTT, where these racers, they've qualified, they're experienced here, but even here you do see a little bit of disorganization. I think somebody who tries to throw a TTT time trial together doesn't do any research at all, is just like, oh yeah, we're just going to go out and take our turns and just not practice or anything. They were absolute mayhem, total disorganization, people all over the map kind of a thing. And now they've got it back together, though, and we're going to see if the Vikings can pull something off here as the times will start coming in.
Like the U.S. team in the Nations Challenge.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate that. Did you ride in that challenge? I mean...
So I did. I did. So I didn't want to be an anchor, though, so I rode in the South African version of it.
Gotcha. I don't understand why that would happen. I didn't want to be an anchor.
Well, it was timing. It was timing for me.
All about timing. Gotcha. Or
wanted
just
to
not
ride
having to
the
take
world's
responsibility for getting whooped by Australia and Katie Bates, probably, is what I'm
Oh, boy. Hey, by the way, what a great time we had. Now, this is a team that's got it right here. Focusing on the positive, but what a great time we had talking about the worlds with Kate Bates. She's awesome. I am such a huge fan of her, and I thought she brought a lot of legitimacy to our chat yesterday. You can find that in the archives, our vodcast that we did.
Yeah, we had a great Zwift Community Live vodcast. We'll be doing those more often. Lots of topics. You got any topics that you want us to cover as well? Go ahead and put them in the chat. Send us a message. The easiest way, actually, to get our attention is going to be on Twitter, most likely, tagging us in something that isn't so much of a constantly coming at you social media platform. Something, tag either myself. Facebook at this point.
Mix it up a little.
Mix it up a little bit. It'd be a little bit easier to find it. At Z Community Live, at Nathan Guerra, and then at D-Toll, Dave Toll over on Twitter, or Katie Bates or Anna as well. Anna's Zwift Racer. All four of those, if we get any of those, we'll see them, and we'll bring those topics to the vodcast. We appreciate any of them that you want to bring our way, and we'll sift through it and see how it goes. Now, looking through here, let's go ahead. We're not going to get any times here from the Vienna real quickly, so I'm going to actually jump on over to the Espresso and see how things are going, because, oh my God, they killed Kenny are absolutely flying right now.
Oh, boy. So we do have splits. Hopefully we'll be able to get to you at 8, 14, and 22. Stay tuned there. Oh, wow. So this is a rider that we were just focusing on a couple of days ago back in the ZRL. Fraser, super, super strong. You can see it looks like a monster pull right now, Nathan.
Yeah, Fraser for 6.6. 149 beats per minute. I wonder if he's just coming through. I mean, that is now it's starting to rise up here, 151. So I think he's just starting to pull through.
Making 6 watts per kilo, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's kind of the freight train on this team. We saw him taking down just about every single sprint. I think he did take down every sprint in his ZRL race the other day.
At least.
Yeah, very, very strong rider here for, oh my God, they killed Kenny. It does look like Griner just hanging out at 3.8. He's distancing them just a tad here now. One thing, if you didn't know, you and get an idea, or at least when you're watching the broadcast and get an idea if it's ever used for this camera view, we like to use this to give you an idea what's happening with the meters below there, because within 3 meters there is a draft. Or if you're racing and you're trying to do a team time trial and you notice that you are distancing the person behind you and it goes out beyond that 5 meters, they're not coming back to your wheel, especially if you don't see their watts per kilogram increasing there. So it's a great way to not have to use a different camera, but watching the meters at the bottom of the screen gives you a great idea of how to keep your team together.
I've always wondered, Nathan, as we watch a team fighting, to do just that. They know what they need to do here. Good job, guys. They're just going to glue it back together. So, Nathan, I've always wondered, and I don't have enough for it to be able to tell when I'm riding. Does it matter if you're so in real life, there's that real sweet spot where it's like 6 inches behind the wheel of the rider in front of you? Does it matter if you're 2 meters back or 1 meter back? 1 meter window? Is the draft even more effective when you're closer? Or is
Yeah,
it
it
just
actually-
in
Vai, vai,
and
vai,
If
around?
it goes out to a certain distance, it actually does decrease. Zwift have shown the drafting mechanism in colors
Metrics
before.
of it? Okay.
Well,
Yeah, yeah.
They didn't show the not necessarily
Like a heat
actual
map, like,
number. Yeah, they
You
showed
get
the heat map
colder when you get
exactly.
further away. Yeah, right.
Yeah, they did show
Bora,
the heat
Max.
map a couple of times
Vai
on
com alma.
broadcast, and you did see that the draft did go out
Sou eu, Batista.
a good ways back,
Podes-
but it got
Podes
weaker
cair.
the further out you went. So it definitely gets stronger the closer you get to the average car, according to that heat map. So
Olha aí, não
what we
pode
saw
deixar
on that,
fugir.
there's
Tem que pular.
definitely- there's even draft
Tá claro.
around the riders and around the pack too. You saw it was definitely not red or orange or light orange, around those spots. It was
Right.
more in those light blue, so meaning it's much weaker around the group. But there's definitely still a draft around the group. It's not like you are solo. So I am being told quickly
Interesting.
just that our
Não
data
escola,
is
não
struggling
deixa
at this
fugir.
point.
Bora lá.
We will bring it in as quickly as possible. So we'll be speaking over Zwift images as well as just trying to get an idea of where things stand by clicking through the time gaps. The time gaps are on 1 minute, everyone. 1 minute are the time gaps that these teams go out at. So it does look like, oh my God, I killed Kenny, and the Lost Torpedoes are right up
Prepara,
against each
Daniel.
other here. Not
Comenta.
really much time
Torpedo.
gained or lost. That 5 seconds difference
Yeah, right atrás.
can a lot of times be
Vamos
just
devagarinho.
where you're at on course. Many times I've been in a team time trial situation where
Oh.
I think we're up by 6
Fez comentário
seconds.
sempre para 4,5, isso
We're
mesmo.
down by
Vai ser
10.
3,8, 3,9.
Unless you get out to like 10 seconds difference, you're not absolutely sure that you've actually got
Então olhar para a velocidade.
so Lost Torpedoes, they're chasing down though as
Gotcha.
they brought back 6 according to the riders nearby list there.
Just like I saw, they just figured out this week that Mount Everest is actually
Velocidade é acréscimo, bora
taller
lá.
than they thought it was. So everybody who
Fica quatro e meio,
Everested is
vai na
going to have to
frente.
redo their effort.
Segunda
I
4.
saw the I
Right.
saw
Well,
the
actually,
post.
the funny thing is,
I
almost
saw
everyone
Phil's
I know,
post. I
Nathan-
saw Phil's post saying this is the worst thing of 2020. That was a great
Quero um grande draft. Bora!
Every rider I
Alguém aqui na
met goes
terceira,
like
para descansar mais
10
bocadinho.
meters beyond to have a little bit of a safety. Anyway, so I doubt that'll be a real problem. So yeah,
Yeah, boss.
wait for data to kick in. I had an idea,
Yes.
Nathan. You know how
Bora,
when new
4,5
employees
dias.
don't get
Mas foi devagar.
in with ideas, really, you should probably wait for a while to learn the lay of the land. Well, I feel like now I'm coming up on my
Tá muito mais fila,
36th
mais fila.
WTRL Team Time Trial. I've got an idea. I want to put it out there.
Let's hear it.
So tomorrow, next week, we're doing our World Bicycle Relief event, charity that we're trying to raise $50,000 for. I
Dias.
know that
Vai lá,
it
Dias.
exists in game is the Buffalo bike.
4,5
I've
só,
actually
Dias.
ridden on a Buffalo
E aguentar a
bike.
4,5.
The exact bike, there.
Bora, vamos a 45, muito bom.
It's built to
Significa
last.
tirar muito tempo depois da manhã.
100% built to last.
Bora!
It's a super efficient,
estamos a ganhar.
simple. It's the
13
beautiful, beautiful
segundos.
bicycle. So
Hoje eu te
how
Tugas,
about we make
bora!
everybody race on Buffalo
Estamos a
bikes?
tirar 35 segundos.
I think we had a
Pós da frente.
discussion, a little bit of
Não, estamos a
discussion
35,
about that.
Nico. Vamos a tirar 25.
So we'll see how.
Everyone
Era
just
suposto eu
shut
estar a
their
descansar, não era estar aqui.
We're gonna leave that.
Vamos, vamos!
That one to
We'll ask
for
Mark
now.
later.
So we'll ask Mark
okay.
later about that one. So, from what I'm
Hey, here's
seeing.
some
But we are
times
getting
coming
a
in.
little bit of times coming in. Yeah, it's good.
Tá
to see.
baixar, aumenta.
8:39 Vikings Valhalla, which I believe we may be looking. Now, there's a lot of Vikings teams. So Vikings Valhalla, Vikings Mjolnir, I believe maybe a little
Vamos.
ways back actually. So there's 3 different Vikings teams I think in this. In this,
Pode empurrar aqui na frente.
and so we'll see how this ends up playing out for them, because I think this team is a little ways
Vou
back.
aumentar, não descola.
Valhalla right up against Wagner, and then it's going to be Tugas, Nada, and ZRG RTT, all very close though. Look at how close this racing is. This is within about 10, 15 seconds of each other. Nobody's
bye,
on
bye.
time today.
There's an alarming number of Vikings at this point. This is where you start to wonder, should we say something? So anyways, Kirkmeyer E-Cycling is a super strong team that have been on a roll lately. I should shout out our Swedish friends, speaking of Vikings, who are the fastest
Bora,
racing
não
in the
descola,
world.
mantém a segunda posição aí, ó. Bora lá, bora lá!
on your ride out there. That was no surprise to anybody who knows their Zwift, right, Nathan? If you were laying down odds in Vegas on the nation, Sweden would have been short money.
Yeah, it was good. They
Atenção, vamos a 2%, inclinação, não descola, vai lá!
We look at the times coming in. We only have them for Latte at this point, so we'll stick with Lattes for a little while here. Very close racing. Everybody is within about 40 seconds at this point, so this is by no means decided. 11th and 10th place still battling up.
4,5 dias, bora!
Seconds to the Rhinos there. But we do have our competition on the week for
Não descola, bora!
booster competition.
Bora, Barroso, faz a ponte!
We did have some selections.
Vamos!
I'll start in with mine. I'm loving, the heartstrings a little bit here. That's for sure. The Fireflies, now, I don't know, this is supposed to be kind of like an exciting sports cast, and instead we're hanging out but next to a fire, or some sort of, what is, are we like a glowing firefly flower? But okay, thanks a lot for the I'm loving that. And then we had, what got me was the fact that they set the landscape in London somehow there. So with the so I was I thought that was little emoji men there is kind of fun. So, digging the Fireflies again. This is the poster competition. The poster competition. You can do so. We pick myself, Dave, and Martin every single week. And go ahead and head on over to the WTRL group. You'll see where the photos, and you can go through those. Martin, and said Heart was the Mr. Bean Dirty Chronicle.
Não descola!
I'm digging that. And the reason he says it reminded him of being home. 2 of 10 riders recommends the Tron bike. The other 8 uses it themselves. So that's classic Mr.
Bean. Yeah,
exactly.
and so heartstrings, he said in the pre-production chat, which is that's nice. So they actually push the right buttons to win, and
they do.
Job.
They know how to push the buttons. This one though, Dave, what's happening here?
Holy cow! So this is mine first. I love this. Love the Clash, but what I found, it's always the little things, and the fact that the supporting acts are all the teams that they race against.
That was my favorite part as well. When you pointed that out, when you pointed out that the supporting acts were the teams that they were racing against, they weren't the main show. That's a perfect little dig that they're doing there. And then the smashing of the bike is so perfect as well. Now, I don't know, is that like in level 1 Zwift bike though? That's not the Tron bike, is it? Why would you be smashing your Tron bike? I would hope not.
Yeah, we enjoyed this one, guys. Really good job. So TSC Hurricane. So I'm glad that we all didn't select the same poster this week. It was a nice mix out there. So keep it up.
Não descola posições e não ponto intermédio.
Speaking of dirt, let's jump right in with one of the Dash Indoors riding trainers. Nathan is a dirt himself. I have to say, I should do some research on this. When I first got involved with Zwift, ODZ was this insane thing to me of more than 1,000 people on one club. Well, these days, 1,000 people on a club is not outstanding at all. There's plenty of teams that are that large out there, but dirt is one of the biggest, right, Nathan?
Yeah, it is. Dirt
is that fair?
It's hard to, I don't keep track at all any longer.
How do you
know? So many out there at this point. We could actually give a shout out to the community and be like, hey, what's your numbers right now to get an idea of kind of where people are at as far as total club members in their Zwift, in their Zwift clubs, in their Zwift teams. But dirt is definitely going to be one of the largest. It's in the thousands for sure. The one thing I did want one more shout out before we move on to the poster competition. Suddenly, Pete Butler is Gandalf. That is another one that we didn't pick it from our. We didn't pick it. But I thought that was absolutely hilarious. That there's a quote on there that team likes to use the Lord of the Rings. Things are only impossible until they're not. Stuart with an exclamation mark with Pete Butler quote from the Dirt Digglers, and then it's a picture of Gandalf, like as if Gandalf has said this, but it's Pete Butler. I don't know. That one was really, and like, there's no context given, so it's one of those classic fill in the gaps and like, huh?
Meus copos são quase
It's a great one.
360 watts.
A little bit of a hashtag fake news, like you have Lincoln saying something about smartphones or something.
Absolutely right, exactly. Nathan, one of the things I've loved is how these teams have bonded together, and it's one of the best parts of what happened in COVID is finding that group that you're accountable to, and showing up every Thursday for WTRL is obviously means a lot to thousands of us, myself included. So this has been a lifesaver, to say the least. As we get some more times coming in from the 14K checkpoint, it looks like a 20:08 is going to be 5 seconds quicker there, but boy, we got ourselves a Donnybrook, ladies and gentlemen. This course always brings out the best in our racers. So the first of the Vikings.
Look how close it is. Mjolnir were the lowest seeded team though coming in, and they are smashing this. Like they went out first. Maybe they got some ringers to come on in. Now you got your hammer weight at 4.0 watts per kilogram here. So I have a feeling they're like, all right, we're done with the bottom of the barrel. We got to go searching for some better Vikings here. Oh, but it looks like we've got ZRGR TTT coming on 1 second better, though. So, gonna have to put some work in still as they're about halfway through their race.
It is like Donkey Kong. It's been a while since I've said that. It feels good because it is. This is super cool, Nathan. 10 seconds there. The Vikings are going to have to go to another level here right outside of their body. And we're updating. Oh, my goodness. Kirkmeyer. Team 24. We've got a new fast time at the 14-kilometer checkpoint. So, Nathan, hit that. We have collectively hit the refresh button here at the midpoint of this race. So it's 2 laps out on the Greater London Flat Circuit. Most teams are out on the final ronde here in London, and that's the fast time, 19:24. You can see it's a 19:58 for TTT3. It's a 20:08 third now for Vikings Mjolnir.
Looking here at 1924, this is the team that just set that at the 14-kilometer mark. For the Latte ZRG. Look at all those German flags. Maybe a little bit of motivation. This world champion. Oh, man. Absolutely flying in the Latte.
These guys needed even more motivation, right, Nathan? Half of this team was on that world championship squad. Had here in the WTRL. Embarrassment of riches.
That's for sure. We do have some data coming on through, I'm being told. I want to check and see playing out in the Espresso. We also have Doppio out there too, just so everybody knows. And we will only have the checkpoints though. So Doppio and the Espresso are 2 separate categories that have been split out now. Doppio is going to be A plus, Espresso is going to be A's. Still, Z-Sun Red Giants, a 1738 currently coming in from them. We do have Innovation there with a 1749, Vision Deepak 1756. So that's the situation. Let's go ahead and jump on in though with the Espressos and see how things are sitting in with them. Let's see.
Vamos, isso mesmo, vamos! That we're looking at right now, but before we go there, Nathan, you know how I've said hundreds of times one of the great things about Zwift is you can go so hard, it doesn't matter, you can't crash, physically crash. Sure, you can have a technical, but well, that's no longer true. Just got a report in from the United Kingdom that, you know, the Dirt Chasers, of course you do, one of our favorite teams out here. Well, they had a rider named Anthony who at the end of the race last week, he went so deep, he blacked out, panicked, fell off into his tumble dryer, and is out this week. So they wanted to wish Anthony. Yeah, it sounded like quite a scene. Yeah, they don't have video of it, or at least they're not sharing. He's okay. Don't worry. He'll be back. But Anthony, our thoughts are with you, and maybe not quite so much. I think that was extra that you gave a week ago. But he's fine. It's all with the tongue-in-cheek, right, Nathan? They're joking about it, I should say. So Anthony, hang in there, buddy.
So we do have a separation between the Doppio and Espresso this week. We'll see. We do see the times are fairly separated, so it does make sense as far as the ability level goes. You do see the VCRT dogs at the bottom of this Doppio here trying to get the better of, and the Espressos, as you do see here as well. There is really that separation in ability where the Espressos are kind of just trying to push over 5.0 watts per kilogram, where a lot of the Doppios are going to be that 5.0 plus for their functional threshold power. So there is that separation. And also we do have some updates coming in the next weeks where we may be covering across a couple of events throughout Platinum League and not just Platinum League, where we're able to kind of because quickly, Dave, you want to I think some people are like, what's happening? Is this a single race? Are there other times that are coming in throughout the day? Yes, there are other times that are coming. We've already had Zone 1, 2, and 3 kick off prior to the Platinum League, actually.
Yeah, Nathan, in my time, there are basically 9. That scheduling makes sense as we follow the sun. Now, what used to be the case was the Platinum League would have 9 of the top 10 times from around the world. But when we were racing, there were still hundreds of teams that hadn't yet raced. So every now and then, the top 10 would change after we were done with our broadcast. And a lot of times when we would present our top 10 at the end of a day, Platinum League, you'd see that it came from an earlier zone. It was almost part of the world. But so because of the fact that you can't expect people to be so... I saw Sarah Gigante at Worlds. It was 2 o'clock in the morning when she was racing. It's far from convenient or even really great for physiology. So, and long story short, I think this is a great idea because a lot of the best rides of the day don't come out of the platform. This is a global Nathan, there's some things that you just can't change. The Earth is massive, it's round, it's the same time.
Yeah,
right? That's not going to change, is it?
We're not going to change it. I mean, sometimes I get up in the morning and just want to like hit the sun back down, you know, like just pop, like nope, like just go right now. But the sun's going to keep coming no matter what you do. And so we do have Reed jumping in.
Bob Marley says, that's true. That's something that these team time.
Well, Sisu, I raced like a girl. You know, and to be honest, Sox for Watts have almost been like the son of unstoppable momentum. But Sisu, I raced like a girl. They're creeping up here. They keep on doing this where they're just within, this week, that 15-ish seconds there, that's just out of reach, I think. The first time there at 8:34 was maybe reachable, but I think they're kind of getting to that point where we're not going to maybe be able to make this happen. Choppers here, I did see they did get a pickup, I believe, with Natalie Lawrence. Yeah. Great to see her jumping in with the Choppers here. That's a really big deal. And this is her, I think this is her world, too, when it comes to triathlete, right? So that's where she comes from. Good to see her jumping into this. Yeah, definitely. Sisu, I raced like a girl, though. Whoa! This is looking organized and like a speed train here. 48 kilometers per hour on the flats. That is some fast time. Pamela Levine here coming on through. And Sox Watts, 44 seconds back. You're on the chase. This is going to be a hot one to the finish line.
We're talking about Sisu a lot more in 2021. That team is really getting, well, they've always had their act together. I'm not saying that they're just figuring this out, but they're starting to refine it, finding that extra little bit. Is the bronze medal winner from the World Championships just yesterday, jumping out and racing, part, obviously, of the Hino team. That's really, really cool.
Cecilia Hansen here on the podium yesterday, bronze medal. Solid result for her. Very good for her. Sitting on the back here, maybe spinning the legs out a little bit after a monster effort yesterday, and then jumping right on in. So good to see her out here racing with the ladies, and going to be taking a winning time and barring anything happening here. So this is going to be Sox Watts, WRT, Lethbridge is there, Hubach, the classic trio. Is Whitelaw in here, or who is riding? No, it's going to be Lethbridge. Excuse me. That's riding for Heino. I forget about that pickup sometimes that happened this season. So,
Yeah.
Cole Sidlick now making her way to the front. Actually, I didn't know that Sidlick was riding today. Good to see Stephanie Sidlick from Dixon.
I did not either.
That's always cool
there's
to
a lot
see
of changes
between them all,
happening
right? You got Turbo.
Yeah.
That's what I like about Sox Watts. It's a true community mixture team. You know, it's this team that's really thrown together between all the trade teams out there. You got the KISS Racing team here. I'm going to show that quickly here. Turbo there as well with Leo Thorvaldsen. Absolutely love it.
You know, with Sox for Watts, if you want to be on this team, you better come legit, without any doubt. This is an all-star team. Every Kirsten Pohl here, the German rider, what a talent she is. A wattage cottage. I mean, there's no weak link on this team, and that's why they have this the greatest winning percentage that I've seen in any of the cycling disciplines. This is next level what Sox for Watts has done. Leah Thorvaldsen, is there a classier human being? I don't think so. And man, she can make the watts like nobody's business. Nathan, how long can this team keep this going, right? We're into now basically a 30-race run where they haven't missed a step. That's more than half a year. You know, no one can stay on top forever. That's what they call a rhetorical question. You don't have to answer, right? But I mean, because, you know, that's the thing. It's fluid. This team is constantly able to bring on new riders. And people want to ride with them because they have such a great team. And you get a unicorn sauce.
I do think that this is a team, though. We've seen her in the ZRL. She's super motivated. This is the team that's on their heels, and we do see them getting a little bit of a time right now. They've pulled out a little bit of time. I did see in the rider news out to 50 seconds. Interesting to see, but now back down to 37. There's probably just a change up in the gradients. Gradient changes on course will change things very quickly. But Catherine Curry, this is a very motivated athlete from what we saw her doing in the ZRL on that Harrogate course this past week. I think looking at her pulling 6 watts per kilogram, 350 watts right now, putting the herd on at 47 kilometers per hour. You know, this is going to be motivating for this team, I think, and I think the rest of the team as well. They are on the hunt. Now, I want to finish this idea here, though, that what Sox Watts is about. Team, for those that are new to the racing community, and wait, Turbo, what's Turbo? Heino? What are these teams? You can see some of these team jerseys that you see here are some of the longest teams we have had in the racing world. Team Turbo, one of the original teams, started out with the mad scientist himself, Greg Leal, a name that a lot of people are like, who's Greg Leal? But if you're old school, you've been around ZCL for a while, you know exactly who the mad scientist is. And that's a guy who knew everything when it came down to game theory, a professor program a lot of times. Hopefully we'll see Greg return to the world of Zwift racing. At the start out of Team Turbo. They do have their kit in game. Longest standing, well-established racing group out on Zwift, one of the first top-level premier racing leagues that was see there. Type 2. You can see their kit in game here as well. And then what's interesting is Rachel Elliott used to ride in that kit, was on the KISS Racing team for the longest time, and then they launched this year this Newberry. Velo, actually. So, that up, running the KISS Racing team, and then stepped away. Now here. So, you know, and then there's Heino, which are but a lot of these riders are all ridden amongst each other on a lot of these teams throughout the years. Of course, don't want to count out Velocity Vixen, as you do see Stephanie Sidlick there. Next to that. You can see across here, it really does the breadth of the community here with Sox for Watts.
Yeah, as far as I know, this is the first
Quem tá
time
na
I've
frente
seen
puxa a terceira,
Cindy in the
passar
mix
outro.
with this team, so that's
Sempre
big
puxar,
for her
sempre.
and great for them as well. She's a rider on a very a great trajectory right now as well. I'd like to, if you want to use an analogy here, this is almost like looking at in the Premier League of football overnight, like one or two riders from Liverpool, Manchester City, Manchester United, just a rider or two from the best teams in the league all coming together. And it is a force to be reckoned with. That's the thing. Sisu has a chance now to find another level by being motivated by beating these women here. And having the choppers back is going to be fun as well as they start to reignite that program. It's gone away, but obviously in real life demands and things are always there's the ebb and the flow. Starting to get some check times in now. Sisu, I raced like a girl, and this is going to be based now on the fact that they went out a little bit earlier. WRT or so Wonder Women must have scratched today, is my guess. Which it's that time of year. I understand that completely. But let's watch and see how this plays out. That Socks for Watch WRT time is in, and well, there you go, Nathan. About what you'd expect there. About a half minute. WRT Socks for Watts.
Jumping in with OTR Blur here real quickly as they are finishing up their race. We'll move our way backwards to get an idea of how things are happening behind. I do believe we do have right coming in. Is that going to be Mazda coming from the Zwifters here? And this is a full Slovenian team. Mazda is going to be streaming over on Twitch. Well-known rider amongst the Twitch community. They're being chased hard, it looks like, though, by the Vision boys here with Dimitri. Actually, Dimitri, what is happening? Back. He's looking to try and finish up his race. So, Barnes here, Innovation, far. Doppio. This is going to be a top team in the Doppios.
It's a little over 29K out there, so they're not that far from the line, a little over 1 kilometer here. 5 riders together. They look like they're moving along at almost 50K per hour. Kind of the benchmark you're looking for on flat ground. Okay, no reason don't
Those red giants are just unstoppable, it seems like. A solid 11 seconds here. Innovation trying to chase that down. 8 seconds. And it looks like Vision. Slovenian Zwifters there, a little ways out at 28.05. VCRT Dogos there, 28.13. Dogos were the first to start, so I think they're already going to be across the line. Vision Deepak are already across the line as well. Really, it's going to be up to Innovation to hold on to that time that they have against Vision as they're coming. Barnes here is making a move. We may be losing images here. Nope, we're not. Good to see, good to see, good to see. Wondering if I can,
for people,
really,
Nathan,
as quickly as I possibly can, bring in Mr. Barnesies.
I was just going to say, could you show us how you do that for people who don't know their way around Twitch? So let's just say that I know that James does a Twitch. I want to watch him. How do I find it if I'm just starting from scratch at home? I go to Twitch TV.
Yeah, head on over to Twitch TV and then search in the Zwift category. Actually, I'll show you guys real quickly as fast as I possibly can. Look at this. Bring this in. I mean, this is absolutely...